Hi, I'm Jo Poulton, a vegetable grower based just outside of Bristol. Honourable Members of Parliament, thank you for taking the time to discuss a hopeful and pragmatic idea to build resilience in the agricultural sector. I would like to introduce you to the idea of basic income for farmers. This policy proposal seeks to recognise the public service our farmers provide and to address the challenges that farmers are facing due to a myriad of things like volatile market dynamics, climate change, and increasing production costs, which result in often very little and fluctuating income. And on the climate crisis point, farms across England in 2024 were down £600 million last year alone due to weather-related crop failures. So this will only get worse. But we want to start building a world where all farmers thrive, and in turn, all sectors and communities thrive through more local access to nutritious food. But what is a basic income for farmers? A basic income for farmers is a regular and conditional payment to ensure that farmers have a guaranteed income floor. It would be paid to the individual, so unlike CAP or ELMS, it's not linked to land area size or productivity. It's linked to the individual contributing to food production, including farm workers. And it's on top of any farming income and on top of any agri-environment payment scheme like SFI or ELMS or CS, which are currently projected to still leave farmers out of pocket. But why do we think this is necessary? We see this as a necessary safety net that supports farmers as a recognition of the essential public service they provide by producing our food, managing our land, and maintaining rural economies. This income would allow farmers to weather unpredictable events like crop failures, market crashes, and even health emergencies, smoothing out the ups and downs of farming incomes and enabling an income floor so all farmers can transition to more sustainable practices whilst boosting their mental well-being. So what we're proposing is a targeted basic income. We recognise it's not universal in that everyone in the UK would receive it, but it is universal across the food and farming sector. So all farmers, regardless of size, practice, would receive a basic income. And our theory of change is that if we can show just how transformative a basic income is for agriculture workers, then we can show that everyone could benefit from a basic income. So we are truly on the road to universality. But how did we get here? And where did this idea come from? So during my years completing unpaid traineeships in horticulture, I almost quit on this path entirely. And that's when I started sharing my concerns with other farmers and growers. And I was saddened to learn that I wasn't the only one in the sector struggling to make ends meet. Some statistics that show this are the Joseph Rowntree Foundation set the minimum income standard, which is the lowest amount of annual income an individual should receive in the UK to live a dignified life, to be £29,500 a year. And now figures collected by DEFRA in 2022 found that farm household incomes annually were £17,800. So that's £9,000 per individual. And that is including off-farm income, so any jobs outside of the farm. That includes the whole family unit. So that's less than £9,000 per individual, which is a staggering £20,700 per individual short of the Joseph Rowntree Foundation's minimum income standard. Farmers are carrying so much risk, and many farmers are caught in cycles of debt and burnout. 95% of farmers cite mental health as the biggest hidden danger in the industry, and we all know that income and mental well-being are intrinsically linked. And I've seen this firsthand with colleagues of mine in the sector having to decide to leave agriculture altogether. And it was when I was personally at my lowest that I started dreaming about the ideal situation for new entrants and started hosting discussions around a guaranteed income. So I launched the campaign in 2022 by hosting online conversations with farmers and food producers, gathered around a working group, and we wrote a report together with the support of the Autonomy Institute that was launched in 2024. It was a key output for us, this discussion paper, and you can download it by scanning the QR code on the roller banner, and it lays out the case and the policy proposal for a basic income for farmers. During the conversations that built towards the discussion paper, we asked farmers to sum up how receiving a basic income would make them feel in one word. And the key words that stuck out for us were valued, trusted, recognised, and relieved. We really believe that a basic income for farmers is the key to the regrowth of domestic food production, so food security, food sector workforce, and more jobs, removing barriers to entry, local economies, boosting local markets, boosting mental well-being, and really fostering a sense of innovation and collaboration across the food and farming sector. Many rural areas suffer from poor infrastructure, lack of services, and low employment opportunities. A basic income could reduce this inequality, incentivising people to remain in rural areas and continue farming. So, by stabilising farmer incomes, we invest directly in these communities, reducing rural poverty and growing local economies. And ultimately, in the long term, a basic income supports food security by ensuring that we continue to produce food domestically, reduce reliance on imports, and ensure resilience against global supply shocks. We have this really powerful case study from one of the farmers that came through our community survey, and we'll be working on a report with Northumbria University, but I wanted to share. So this farmer's from Scotland. They farm on 25 hectares. They've been in the sector for 20 years. And they say, my farm feeds 220 local families with fresh, healthy food. It employs 4 people in a remote rural area on a real living wage. We train 2 new growers each year, and we are carbon negative by 72 tonnes of CO2 per year. But I still earn no income from my farm. Our family has to rely on child tax credits, and my partner has to work off the farm in order for us to survive. We're currently being migrated to universal credit, and it looks like we'll get no social security payments as our farm makes no income. We're having to look at stopping farming despite all the hard work and public benefits we produce. This would lead to the loss of 4 jobs and local food for 220 families. We need a basic income so that we can continue to produce local healthy food and employ local people in real jobs in our community. And that farmer is already producing in a carbon negative and biodiversity enhancing way. How can we ever expect more industrial farmers to go green if they're in the red? We know that farmers want to transition, but they require adequate resources to do so. And that was found by the Soil Association Exchange, that over 66% of farmers see financial risks as the main reason they can't prioritise climate and nature. Another farmer, it came through and they've been in the sector for 40 years, and they say, I think a basic income would be so enabling for food producers on all scales, as it would permit them to adopt less intensive and more regenerative approaches due to assurance that knowing your income stream is in part guaranteed, and they could innovate and experiment. We feel like this really presents an opportunity to meet farmers where they're at and create a new, stronger, unified narrative. There is so much potential for public benefits to be delivered if a basic income was secured, and for us, the next logical step is to run a pilot. We want to strengthen the case for basic income to deliver a robust policy proposal by building on what has already been explored in Wales with care leavers, Finland with unemployed people, in Ireland with artists. And we really want to test this model with the farming community. Today, we're asking for your support in advocating for the introduction of a basic income for farmers as part of the agricultural policy agenda. We think it would work really well as devolved policy, so piloting or implementing in Wales, Scotland, or Northern Ireland or England. And what we want to see is how it impacts the health and well-being of our food producers, whether it enables new entrants into the sector, does it increase local food supplies, does it make farming a viable livelihood, and is it a suitable policy for a just transition toolkit? When pilots have happened in different parts of the world, like for instance in India, there was a pilot working with rural communities, and they found that through the basic income payments, there was an increase in productivity for the farmers, and it allowed them to make long-term investments in their land and take on more climate resilient practices. They found that there was more trade with each other, and the formation of co-ops happened, so a resilient local food network emerged. We know that basic income doesn't solve every problem, but it does make every problem easier to solve. We still have some big questions we want to get closer to answering through consultation and policy design, and we need your support to make this happen. We have to start somewhere. To strengthen the food system and the whole economy, we need to strengthen the existence of our food producers. If we want food security or food sovereignty, we need our farmers to be secure, and a basic income for farmers is a bold, forward-thinking step towards that future. Your support could make a tangible difference. Thank you for your attention. We'd be happy to answer any questions or discuss further steps to move this campaign forward in the meet and greet.